Pretty much everybody knows how USB drives work. In fact, we all have probably a pile of them, especially older, smaller ones, just sitting around in our office. And it's a really convenient way to just load something onto it, give it to somebody, and then they can put it on their computer in their folder. This is especially true when the file that you're passing them is bigger than something you can email. Email usually has limitations with how big the actual file can be, so you just pop it on a flash drive, and they're so cheap now, we can just usually say, and just keep the flash drive, right? I mean, we don't even need it back. I do want to encourage you though, please stop doing that. There are other ways to transfer data, and USB drives they're just a ripe area for people to take advantage and hack your systems. Whatever you call this hack, a lot of times it's called a dropped drive hack because you'll like drop a drive somewhere and somebody will find the USB drive and plug it in because, hey, I wonder what's on it. But here's the story that I've often heard. Let's say we have like a corporation with lots of security. So they actually have a roof. We're just looking and peeking in through the top. But they have, let's say these are electrified, so nobody can get in without an ID. And the parking lot is here, but even it has like razor wire on the outside. So you can't get in unless you have, a very special ID that's really impossible to spoof, and the guard knows everybody. So only special cars can get in and park, and nobody can get into the building. It's super, super secure. So what does somebody do? Well, the story goes that somebody stood way outside of the parking lot, and they had a bunch of flash drives, and they took a slingshot and shot them into the parking lot. And so there's like a flash drive here and here and here, and Johnny in his blue car gets out and he sees a flash drive. And if it was a big flash drive, like if somebody dropped a 256 gig flash drive on the ground, I have to admit, I'd be tempted to get it. So you don't have to spend a lot of money to trick somebody or even convince somebody to pick up a flash drive. But the deal is, once you have that flash drive and you bring it inside to the super secure building with you and you plug it into your workstation, a number of things can happen. One, it could execute malicious code. Two, it could phish. It could like launch a website that's going to phish attack, meaning it's going to convince you to put in like the proper credentials into a site that isn't a real site, or possibly it's just something that looks like a USB drive and maybe functions as a USB drive, but also has like a keylogger built in. And that keylogger is going to send your password from your super secure workstation through the network to another bad guy somewhere on the internet. So USB drives can be a very, 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 very dangerous thing to take from a parking lot or from anywhere and plug into your computer. So just don't do it. I know what you're thinking though. Sean, what if I have to get a big file to somebody and it won't fit in as an email attachment? Well, thankfully, we're not the first people to have these problems. And I like to use online cloud storage that can be shared. Now, in this particular case, we're looking at my OneDrive folder because I have Office 365, so I can use Office even on a Linux machine in a web browser. And we can see here that I have a couple files in my Documents folder inside OneDrive. Now, let's say I want to share my recipes for poke bowls to anybody else or to somebody else. And let's pretend that it's more than 8 kilobytes and it's a really big file that I can't share as an email attachment. So I'm just going to right click, and this is just OneDrive. There are tons of different sharing things like Dropbox or Box or just tons of different ones. I actually have one that I use on Synology that is all on my own NAS. But anyway, this one works this way. Anyone who can link it. I want to say don't allow editing. We could add an expiration date. I'm going to say it expires tomorrow. I'm not going to set a password. I'm just going to say apply. And I'm going to say copy a link. Okay, so now our link is copied for poke bowls, and we can send just that link that is copied to somebody. So this long link, we can just send that to somebody, and then they can put it in their web browser, hit enter, and then all of a sudden they're going to see my ideas for poke bowls. And the nice thing is I didn't have to insert anything into my computer, and the people who are getting this can just paste this into a web browser. Now, I am not going to pretend that if you use something like OneDrive, it's impossible to infect another person's computer. However, it's a great alternative to use something like OneDrive as opposed to handing out flash drives. It's just not a secure and safe way to hand out files anymore. So discourage your users and set up an alternative that's going to be easy for them to use. In fact, Gmail has it built in where you can upload to your Google Drive right while you're composing an email. So focus on the alternatives, make sure your users know how to use them so that they don't have to have that temptation to just give out a flash drive, and also teach them not to pick them up out of the parking lot and plug them into their computers, even if they're really nice big ones. I hope this has been informative for you, and I'd like to thank you for viewing.